3-1. 2-1. It passed. Okay.
Need a motion to adjourn?
Let's see.
We're not done with the agenda.
No. Okay. Approve expense fund expenditures.
We need to certify the office staff.
Okay, certify the office staff, Mike Kruger, Field Fraser, Sherry is the clerk.
I'll like that motion.
Okay. Second. Okay, we've got a motion, we've got a second. Supervisors.
Aye.
Mayors.
Aye.
School board.
Aye.
Okay, set public hearing for 23-24 assessment expense fund. What days are we looking at?
Well, let's see, today is the 25th, I have to publish on the 1st, and then by the 15th of February.
That's
Or
our,
what's that?
that'll be our next meeting?
Well, I have to publish,
Yeah.
that happens next week, and we have to wait 10 to 20 days. So, 14th or 15th February,
Okay.
After it's published, right?
yeah, 10, anyone can,
Publish it on Monday.
What,
on the 1st,
On the first,
yeah.
what day works the best? On the 14th or 15th?
15th.
15th?
Yeah.
Okay, got a motion?
Yes.
Okay, we've got a motion for the 15th. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Supervisors.
Aye.
School, mayors.
Aye.
School board.
Aye.
Okay. We're set for the adjournment. All in favor? I guess mayors.
Who seconded that one? Leroy did.
Okay.
Who made the motion? Supervisor.
Jerry.
Jerry.
Supervisors.
Jerry.
Mayors.
Aye.
School board.
Aye.
Thank you all. Just leave that. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey.
Yeah. See ya. See ya. Bye.
Yes.
Yeah, make sure you don't put it back today.
Kevin gave up on us. You want some more, Leroy? Call my wife and tell her.
You have to count the stipend.
I still think if we put it out there somewhere.
They make her work at the other places. She won't go there.
Sweetheart. You're good. I don't care what you're doing. Make somebody a good wife. We're gonna see through the jail first. We're
Well, I
gonna,
guess so. I
we're
just
gonna
was
wait
back
here.
in a meeting.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Kevin, quickly,
I'll be quick.
I'll be
in and out of here.
Their idea.
Famous last word, right? to leave it at 0%, or was it 4%?
No, they don't, I got,
I'm a little stressed to be here with me.
Okay. I misunderstood you last time.
okay.
I hope so.
That's
Sure,
what
then
we
you walk out.
talked
Yeah,
about.
that's what I was
When it
thinking.
wasn't set in
They can't,
stone.
they're supposed to be.
I just double checking.
Well, it's not that time yet. No, it was 20 minutes ago.
Yeah. Problem.
Okay,
How you want to start this morning? It's my son's birthday today, and it's 32, I feel really old today. I'm gonna have a 32.
You said you're 32.
I wish, I have a son that's 32, I feel really old. If I did, well, I wasn't, I was 25.
January, going
Okay. You gonna give us your sales pitch, Kevin?
I really don't have a sales pitch.
Are you gonna start with the agenda and minutes and stuff?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a good idea. Otherwise I'll get in trouble. Let's stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call. Jerry.
Here.
Leroy.
Here.
Jason.
Here.
I'm here. And that's floating here somewhere. Any changes to the agenda?
I don't have any.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Order.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? January 24th minutes? I will take a motion on them if nobody has a problem. A motion, we have a second. Support. All in favor? Opposed? February schedule.
Well, the 7th and the 28th, you got drainage in the afternoon.
7th and 28th.
We have drainage meetings, yeah. I mean, you need to meet the 14th and the 28th for sure. And the 7th, we kind of look over budget.
Shall we just call the 21st if we have to? What do you think?
I won't leave until first.
Okay.
Motion, 7th, 14th, and 28th.
Okay, we've got a motion, do we have a second? Support. All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Now, Kevin.
Everything's pretty straightforward. The only thing, the unknowns are the ones with the wages. Right now, the numbers in there, that was with a 5% raise. So hopefully we can find something out on Friday. Maybe not, but who knows? But anyway, yeah, so that was just put in with a 5% raise, so I have no idea what the reason is gonna be. Everything else is pretty straightforward.
Okay.
I'll let you know that, our total inmates for last year was, we had 211 total inmates last year, so. So, yeah.
Did you get motel rates out of that?
I wish. There's a thing now the state put in their ability to pay, so you know where we're at with that.
Yep. Have you heard anything about your,
No, I haven't.
can you jack them up
I can do that.
to remodel the jail?
Last time I talked to him, I let him know that you guys were on board, and then he was gonna have the architect, that Rick, start drawing up several plans, so.
But tell them we need to know.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions for Kevin?
Or it's like the reduction is largely in the insurance, but we're seeing
Yes, that was, yep, that was insurance, yes.
plans that are chosen.
Yep.
Anybody else have any questions for Kevin? Other than his revenue page, doesn't look very good.
Well, I wanted it.
I do have the public safety budget way in the back last tab, if I had any questions on that. Very last tab, the sheriff's office.
Oh, yeah, sure, I didn't bring that one with
Oh,
me.
you can look at mine.
And if you want me to, I like to keep stats. If you want me to throw some stat numbers out there for you, let us know, let you know what our activities were for last year. If you're interested or not.
It would be interesting.
Our total calls for service, you know, that's, anything that gets called into our office, was 4,140 calls. We had 1,608 911 calls. We issued 490 citations, 1,155 warnings. We had 271 arrests, covered 81 accidents, 211 total inmates, and we did 557 paper services, civil services on the streets.
How many of those were prosecuted?
That I can't tell you.
Right. Just checking.
Yeah, that number I don't have.
Did you have the?
The jail, in the last tab. The sheriff,
Oh,
right
there
here.
it was. It was hiding.
I have to change the revenues on the public safety budget, so we get the increase in there over there.
They did it, urban increase.
He just has it in the budget, I don't know what they haven't got to that point yet, have they?
No.
What's the 100% increase for the employee insurance contributions?
On public safety?
Yeah, in public safety.
Which one is that?
What page are you on now?
Page 5.
Middle of the page.
Doubled it.
Yeah.
Looks like he doubled it, he had 27,000 budgeted and he increased it to 55,300. Probably just get more in line, like service.
And sometimes my adding isn't always right the first time.
Well,
Yeah.
change in staff, is it represent, or is it tied to the insurance plans that are chosen, or is that?
Yeah, that's gonna be tied to, if they got the single family or the single or the family or, because I had to have Rochelle give me all the employees' information about if they were on the single or family. And of course, before I get this all presented, I'm gonna give it to Rochelle and she can double add everything.
Yeah, they just don't, they're not off of HSA like everybody else is, so.
And our tort liability insurance went up quite a bit too.
Yes, it did.
On base camp, Bill told us 20%, on base camp it's more than 20. Yeah, some counties are 23, 24, so.
What caused that increase?
What is it, said a lot of, well, for you, jail and a lot of catastrophes.
Yeah.
One of the other things that brought it up.
The
and-
jail's always gonna be the biggest part.
Yeah. A lot of claims for us. That's why he said up at 20%. Hopefully it's enough. Some counties, the renewals start in January, or in July, so.
Any other questions for Kevin? So is that good enough for Kevin, or do you guys have more questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you for all you guys do, appreciate it.
Enjoy the weather.
What's that?
Said enjoy the weather.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Do you have any candidates for your open position?
I mean, our casual part-time. We got one application, so.
No, wait, don't you have a deputy that's
No,
gonna? Oh, I thought there was one leaving.
well, that's what we thought too, but then he, how do I put this? He thought he was guaranteed certain things, and then when he found out if he took the position, he wasn't gonna get those things, so we no longer wanted it, so
Okay,
he's staying around.
okay, good.
Yeah, and I just got the casual part-time dispatcher jailer position open, so.
But you do have an applicant?
One.
Okay.
That's the way it is nowadays.
Better than
But
none.
the good thing is, I'll let you know, with the Lakes Co-op, hiring co-op, we tested in October, and we had 2 candidates out of that testing. Well, then, that wasn't enough, because one of them candidates got hired already, so we're retested again in December. And now we've got a hiring pool right now, about 7 or 8 people, so.
Good.
And they're all legitimate candidates.
Good. So that's a good thing to block.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks, Kevin. But see if you can jack them up.
Yep, I'll try to get hold of them.
That's not the right term.
Give them a call.
Jack them up. I'm still.
Influence our ability to process things faster, is that what you're looking for?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
How's it going today?
perfect. Glad to
Living the
be
dream?
here.
Living the dream?
What?
Living the dream?
Of course, why not? There's white stuff everywhere. All of that. For salary, kind of what we did, I know it's higher than before, but we kind of averaged
50 hours, I
50
figured.
hours a month. But, you know, we know in the winter time, it probably won't average that.
Right.
Not- But, I mean, I had it in the budget for a 6% raise at 50 hours a month.
Okay.
So that's why that's up higher.
I think last month I had 13 hours, so
we're just paying for what she works, but she,
Yeah.
we just thought an
Just
average
for the
of,
budget.
yeah, just. No, 'cause last month you said you worked 13 hours, so she had to pay for like 13. Plus mileage.
There was no mileage.
And then we just upped our grant to county 3%, we don't really know what that's gonna be.
No.
Over years through.
Where was mileage? Or,
Well, she gets paid mileage, that comes out of the 428, the well closure, because we get reimbursed for that.
I think on I think Russ Park for mileage would have been, I wanna say about $550, something like that. I think this last year was 200, and my almost 3 something, and that was it.
And last month you said you didn't
Last
have
month I
anything.
didn't have anything,
from home,
yeah.
so. It just depends if she goes on site or whatever, so.
I like our budgets like this.
I try to make it easy, well, Michelle tried to make it easy.
Anybody have any questions?
Another FYI, she has to put in her quarterly report, and they put a new site in the state, and it's not working.
Surprise, surprise.
So, it will be available upon further notice.
Okay.
Meanwhile, they'll probably fine us for not having it in time.
Well,
Yeah, I'm waiting for that.
well, we're just not getting paid for
Yeah, the
it.
county's not getting paid back their reimbursement.
Okay, discuss well closures or permitting.
Okay, Eric Day is the head guy from the DNR that's in charge of the well permitting processes. And he contacted me, inquiring if I would take back well permitting for Osceola County. I said I would talk to you guys about it. I brought it up in the Board of Health meeting, not this past one, but the one before that. No discussion really kind of took place on it. But now Eric is quite adamant that we either have to, as the county either has to allow me to do the well permitting process or hire somebody else to do the well permitting process. And those were pretty much the two options he gave me, that the county's gonna have to contract it out, or as the environmental health specialist, we take it back. Because the way it was kind of brought up was that we're the only county in Iowa that doesn't do the well permitting. So,
Is it a big deal to do it?
I told him very bluntly that the only way I would be willing to take the well permitting process on is that if the courses that I have to go to, I focus on that, so I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing when I go out to do an inspection, and to, you know, because you have to do a site analysis just like the septic permit. You have to pop in and out as they're doing the process to make sure they're using the proper grouting and all these terms that I'm not quite familiar with, so I would like to know exactly what I'm supposed to be looking at and feel comfortable with everything. And that is about it. I know I talked to somebody in Dickinson County, and they do theirs, and she didn't make it seem like it was very difficult at all. It is some working with the DNR to make sure that you're putting your well placements in the proper locations, and, you know, you're following what's in Chapter 49, which I have read through because Eric still requires me to go out and do the site evaluations here. So I'm doing half of it already, so why not fill out the paperwork, and then that $125 would not go all the way back to the state. I know I talked to Jason, and the way I kind of understand it now, and can kind of vouch with me, is that $25 goes back to the state of Iowa, and then we would keep the $100. Dickinson only charges $50, which they were not aware that the state charges $125, so they're definitely looking at increasing their amount, because they get $25 for the permit, and then they have to give the DNR $25. So, you know, if the state's gonna charge $125, you know, then that's kind of the way I figured it in, that we keep the 100 and 25 would go back to the state. And then I also think it would help, because the first one, he made me go do a site evaluation on. When I got to the site, the well company had already drilled the majority of the well. They were like 2 feet away from the road ditch, which they can't be. They have to have their setbacks. And so it became this process, and now I'm the one that's sitting there saying, well, you gotta take all your stuff out and redig a well here, where you can put one. So we've had that. I know they got a violation notice from the DNR. I just got another email that somebody dug a well without a permit, so that's another violation. But, you know, these aren't on us, but they're on the well companies that are doing these things. But I think if we brought it back here, I would know more about what's going on than, you know,
The
the guy
the DNR does not come and look.
no, they're not going to.
They haven't.
Yeah,
But they say they're in charge of well permitting. My
Yeah.
issue, I absolutely would trust Michelle, I think it'd be good to have it locally and in-house. I don't wanna pay for something that they say we're doing,
Yeah, they're not doing it.
and they're not, and they're trying to tell you, you have to. That's my issue with it, I expressed it to the Board of Health. The Board of Health is supportive of it. They said the Board of Health they made a recommendation that Michelle take the courses she's most comfortable with for well permitting process, and then proceed with that, subject to our approval. So, they support it. I did raise my concern, and they were aware of that, and I got the impression they wouldn't be upset if we didn't, because one of the options presented was to give the state the one finger salute, or
I just don't wanna be in
But-
between everything anymore, so
But there's still the final approval of the permit, it's still the DNR.
still the DNR.
And they're not coming out to look at any of these stuff, because otherwise it wouldn't end up in the wrong spot. The drillers usually have all the stuff already done before they send the paperwork into the DNR with their sieve analysis for everything as well.
Right, but what
So-
this company did was they sent it where they could have put said well, but then when they got out there, well, the homeowner told me he wanted it here, so they didn't even drill it anywhere near what their plans that they sent to the DNR looked like.
Steve indicated that some of the drillers get around it by saying, well, we told the homeowner they have to get the permit.
And see, that's not the case. And Eric's been pretty good about making sure that doesn't happen, because the 2 instances I've had, they get warning letters, and they get the notice that if you do this again, we're gonna pull you, and you won't be able to, you know, 'cause they have to be, licensed by the state, and they do threaten that they'll pull them, or they can't drill in Iowa anymore. And they're, you know, I mean, the companies that I've dealt with, they're not even from the state of Iowa. They're from South Dakota, I think was one, and Minnesota was the other. So they know what they're supposed to be doing, but can somebody that isn't around in this area even police that factor, you know?
Why did the DNR say we had to take that back? Is there anything that says we have to take that back?
I do not know. Eric, I think, just believes it's up to the county to do and not up to the DNR to do.
I don't think Dean is gonna do it anymore, do you? I thought that was the reason why we gave it back to the state.
So it's a changeover in the state,
I just,
the requirements of online
something in there, we did
forms,
it.
and has
What's your hourly rate?
It was 25, but I think with Michelle, the increase was 26.50, right?
For what? Yeah,
Yeah.
26, yeah.
Mine was just last year.
You all paid all of it, right?
Yeah.
And then
Are you willing to do it?
I would be willing to do it if I knew, like I said, if I went through and did the courses, which I need 12 hours of continuing education anyways to keep grants to counties. So instead of focusing on septic systems, which I, you know, got the gist of, then I would take those required credit hours and learn the well drilling process.
And that's reimbursable by grants to
Grants to
counties.
counties
So, yeah, I
reimbursable.
like that approach. My concern is, does the county get enough out of the permitting process financially to cover her time? I'm not interested in paying for something that I think the state should be on the hook for. So,
And
I
then,
would like to make sure we're square on that before we proceed with approval or anything.
I agree with that.
Eric also sent me an email, and he wants their titled website edits. He wants me to provide on there that we do well testing, approval for well plugging, which we don't approve well plugging. It's up to the homeowner if they want to plug their well or not. Approval for well renovations. I talked to some people in other counties, and typically when somebody has a problem with their well, it's too expensive to renovate, so they just close that one and drill a new one. Approval for shock chlorination. Other counties around here just provide the caller or the person inquiring about this, contractors that deal with wells, because once again, the county doesn't like shock wells. And approval for assessment. So I understand he's got a lot of these things in here. The shock chlorinization is just something that I would have to tell the homeowners, Grant County can reimburse you X amount for doing this. It's not anything that we really approve of. And no, I don't know if he's trying to take things for a little, but,
I guess I'd say leave it with the DNR until they can make us take it back.
okay, which is,
That's just my 2 cents on it, but
Well, if we're the only one, they're gonna make the figure pretty good.
can they, David? I mean, otherwise we wouldn't have been able to kick it back to them to begin with.
I'm surprised we did, that we got by with it.
I don't know how Steve did it, but
I don't either.
I don't think it hurt if you're interested in it. It is a possibility, and you need to continue education to go ahead and do that side of it
yeah.
anyway, and then you're prepared if and when we go down that road.
Okay.
If you don't mind, like you said, you're
Yeah, I mean,
on
I've got
top
it,
of the
yeah, so
septic systems anyway, so when you're something else,
it wouldn't hurt.
I think you have to figure out what we need to charge in order to cover the cost. Because the DNR's cost is covered by not showing up, but if you're actually gonna go out and look at it and do it, we need to figure out which,
especially multiple times.
yeah.
They want 3 visits.
If we retain $100, that's under
That-
4
that's-
hours.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not gonna
For
cover
mileage
any
and traffic.
visits.
That's
It's a losing proposition.
Not quick, so if we can add additional fees, which I hate doing to our citizens, but
But you
in
gotta
the
cover the
public's interest,
costs.
it's probably wise to make sure things are being done right.
But even if we just want, just to cover the cost of it.
So we get $125 from Grant County then for wells.
Ramsey County, we get $75 for well closing.
For well, but what about, putting a well in?
I'm not familiar if they provide
Maybe.
anything for that. No one has inquired for me, and the DNR didn't mention anything.
I thought there was a spot on grants to counties that we can put in that we
If that were
did a
Steve's
will.
side, $125.
Yeah, but I will have to check into
Okay.
that, once you get into
Yeah,
grants to
because,
counties.
no, they can open the
But
program up.
I think we can get reimbursed for that,
Okay,
I think. It's been a while.
yeah, we can look into
Into
it.
grants and counties, I think we can,
Okay.
because I know we can get it for, when you have to test a well,
Yes.
we can get reimbursed.
Yeah, because it's the cost of the testing, I think, the time there, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Can they come back at us, the people that didn't have permits and have their wells located in the wrong spot?
I do not know what the DNR would do. I really don't.
Oh, I believe you. You were talking about distances and stuff, and, granted, this is 20 years ago.
How far does it have to be from the ditch?
From the property line, I believe it says 10 feet, but don't quote me on that. I don't have, septic I've got memorized, but the wells I don't have memorized yet.
O'Brien County took one out that was pretty close to the right of way where you pushing snow, but they pushed snow outside the right of way, took the well out to a hog building this winter. So I don't know how far back it's supposed to be, but I'm guessing it probably should be sent back a ways.
Then, yeah, and then I get the argument of, well, my property's the center of the road. Well, no, that's not technically the case. I mean, I understand that. But then they do have that wonderful wordage in there of drainage ditches or waterways. And any ditch is a drainage ditch. So that is normally my go-to of, this has to be your setback.
I'd say, yeah, I agree, if you wanna take the class, that's fine. Be ready for it.
Okay, so when I email Eric, then it says, any update on your board of supervisors will approve you to perform private well permitting. What do you want my wordage to be to him?
Well, then
How do we get reimbursed? How do we cover the cost of your time? I guess that's my question. And then you can plan to proceed with the courses so that you feel confident.
Any other questions that you would have for them?
Mr. Treasurer, Mr. Recorder.
Okay, I will see what he has to say about it, and I don't know, I'm sure we're good.
Sounds good, thank you.
Yeah, I just don't like being stuck in the middle of it, so.
That's why you get paid the big bucks.
Well,
Yeah.
but well, we're in the agenda. So, all right, thank
Thank
you
you.
guys very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get Becky, she didn't know she would have time, you know, or keep moving downstairs.
If she wants to wait,
Okay, so Sarah's back, so.
boy, Martha's pale in there. She was white.
Who?
Barb.
Oh, was she?
Becky's at a good time to come.
She left.
She's at a good time to come out. Sarah's back, Sarah's really dry.
Well,
Morning.
I don't know, do you have a question?
That 86% increase for insurance, is that just adding that other floater between your two offices?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you new hire, I don't know. Did you ask him something?
Oh, I did. I added, so Deb is retiring in April 7th. Her tentative date, so she'll be retiring. So yeah, that was, I just budgeted for a new hire. And then I just put family insurance.
But your,
Not big deal, just,
your floater's covered in that too, or?
yep, part of the
Yep.
floater's covered in that too, yes.
Gotcha.
Yep, half of it, yep.
So then the decrease for the salary of deputies,
What was that?
the decrease for your salary of deputies is because of the retirement?
Because of the retirement and then the new hire, yes.
Gotcha. Who's gonna be the new deputy?
So that would be Sarah.
Oh, okay.
she's been there a long time.
She finally got trained today in her drive test, and so now we have her drive giver.
Sweet.
Yeah, after all that, she just finished with that, so.
What was with the big reduction in telephone and cell service?
Oh, that should be 700.
No.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did that wrong.
I was like, wow, what, did you guys cut the phones off?
No, that's,
Nobody's
that's
calling?
off. That should be 700, yeah.
Okay.
That might have been my mistake too. Get that changed.
Didn't want people to call in anymore.
Get you up in the middle.
But I got the interest rates up, I mean, right? Finally back above 0.25.
So that's your big increase there, 150%
Yeah,
increase in
yeah.
interest?
Our CDs are like 4, I think I just did one for 4.30, 4.3. So.
Any other questions for Becky?
And my tax sale registration fees went those came from. I was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting $199 to second. Postal account is property, but, so you register no matter what gets paid for it, you don't get a property. That's where that big amount came from. Other accounts have increased that just because they get such a large volume, but I wasn't sure what to expect with this year.
Anything else?
Show that coming in. We should increase the $2,000 line you're talking about. Bottom of page 1.
Right.
Protected fees. So in this year, how come we don't show what we received?
Because I don't have my tax bill till June, so it won't be on the report. Yeah, because, yeah. Yeah, it shows what we did last year, which was close to that high. But this year I haven't had my tax bill.
I asked you last year about the changes to the elderly property tax credit. Can you compare the last 2 years, what it costs us for all of those credits?
I would have to look at that. That is the one I normally run. That's the,
Not
yeah.
pressing, but in the next
Yeah,
week
she
or
would
two,
have those
could you do
reports,
a
right?
comparison between the,
And nothing has
Last 2 or
really
3 years.
changed from last year to this year on those yet.
okay. We'd see it
We don't
next
have
year.
anyone that did that. Our elderly tax credit has been so far. No one has qualified for that additional that they've done. I don't think anything has changed as of right now. For us anyway.
Anything else? Thank you.
You.
Thanks.
Yep. Don't sit there so quiet.
I don't know what you want me to say about it.
I was gonna have a whole list of questions for you, but I'll let you off.
Well, I was trying to be prepared, but.
We didn't change too much of anything.
I say nothing sticks out at
Up
this.
the policies a little bit, because that's going up with that.
I was watching Johnny Carson the other night, and he says, they're gonna raise postage 22 cents.
Oh.
Back
in the day. Yeah, back in the day.
Does anybody have any questions for Sheila?
Not too many pluses on there.
The quotes be down a little bit next year, because, you know, this is the renewal year for the next 3 years, so.
Thank you.
Okay.
But remind me, if you're doing it, remind me.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello?
Well, you came with reinforcements.
Answers a question I can't answer.
What did you turn around for bridges and culverts at that,
Sorry?
bridges and culverts?
Yeah.
That's up 204%. Did you rearrange some?
It's on page 2, bottom. It's those 7,100 line, that 117,486.
Yes, I rearranged some of the salaries and put most of it up in that area.
Oh, okay.
A higher percentage and allocated less percentage of labor to some of the other tasks. In the end, if you look at the overall 7100 series, on page 5, your clearing total, that's all of your, this one said 140. This one doesn't give a total for just breakdown.
It does, for like the 7100 series, it's like 440,063, and this year budgeted 560,
Yeah.
and then the 7110. Yep, a little bit.
Yeah, I put more up into that area, and then down in the 7100s, which is facility and things like that. We had more money in this past year because we were doing things like the salt shed and things like that, which we won't be doing. So we're putting more of that money into the other roadway maintenance.
I figured there was something like that. How far are we over on your budget with the snow? How far are we over on your budget with the snow?
We're not over, but we're pushing hard. So the budget, yeah, if you want to look at the snow budget, and it has previous years in there. This year's budget's 210. When this report was run, we were at 150. We're probably close to 160 right now, maybe even 175. We will go over. I have no doubt of that. So I have actually programmed 300,000 this next year, which is more in line with some of the previous years' expenditures and budgets. We had another half day this past weekend with people out, so another 4 to 6. Some people had 8 hours of overtime.
Really, compared to previous years, you should probably be higher, shouldn't you?
I kind of thought it'd be
I mean,
higher.
compared to.
You mean,
19?
set a higher budget?
No, I just mean, I thought maybe you'd be even higher than you are.
Expenditure,
Yeah.
expenditures. The big thing that hurt us was the holiday week. We got such hard snows, heavy snows, while they normally would have been off. So it was pretty much all overtime. If we snow during the week, it's much better for us.
You said you factored in how many hours of overtime, and we used how much?
The budget each year has about 1,000 hours of overtime, and last time I gave you a report, we did like 410 that first week, and then another 150 to 160 the next week. So we're after this weekend, we'll probably close to the 750 hours of overtime. I could get an exact number, but we're using a lot of our overtime budget. Now, those hours are sprinkled throughout the overall budget. They're not just all sitting in snow and ice removal. But in terms of the overall manpower that we've expended, we're okay. The only thing we have to worry about is with the DOT codes, you have 4 main sections where your money has to be, and you're only allowed to vary those sections by 10% and your overall budget by 1%. So what could happen is perhaps if some of that overtime is being expended up in the 7,000 category, and we have more money in 7,100, we may be dealing with a budget amendment in the spring, just to reallocate, not to increase.
Overall budget goes up about 300,000, but what's the main?
Well, our revenues have gone up some based on the tax, the gas taxes that are coming our way, plus the valuations and the required mandatory amount of valuations that come our way. So that raised our budget by about 300,000 right there. We have a shared project with Dickinson County on the county line in the Fairview Township. That's a box culvert that was supposed to go out this year, and it looks like it's going to be delayed due to some new DNR regulations. So that's being kind of carried forward. So the budget may look a little bit higher, but there's going to be savings in this year's fiscal budget that will help account for that.
So whose salary went into bridges and culverts?
Every time you see a labor category salary in here, it is the DOT field guys. So we have an overall amount of manpower, and we just allocate based on that a percentage to each kind of category and sprinkle it throughout. So we did put it pretty heavy, but it'd be road crew guys, dirt crew guys, things like that. All the office staff is in the top 7,000 series. So myself, Lori, Mike, and Brian are all in the 7,000 area. So there's no one specific personnel, it's just percentage allocated.
It's going from 38.6 to 117. So it just kind of hops all over the place then from year to year.
Sorry?
The budget for that kind of moves around a lot. Is that just dependent on how many bridges and culverts we do?
Yeah, so last year we actually were pretty heavy in culverts. We did all those culverts on A22 and elsewhere and preparing for the HMA project. And really, those are where, when we do tackle culverts, it does take a lot of manpower, and so it seemed like a logical place to put more of the hours. But it could end up more in ditches or elsewhere, and it'd still be in that overall 7,100 series. So we wouldn't run afoul of any DOT issues. We may overrun one category and underrun another.
How's your mechanic doing? Did he have an
Cody's
accident?
been back for several weeks, Cody, about a month or so, yeah. He's
Doing good?
yes,
Good.
yeah, back full-time status.
What do you guys got figured in for new equipment for this next year?
So we have the maintainer that we took the action on about a month ago, and that quote for that. We have a skid loader, which is being shared with the operating budget, so we turned 25% of that cost over to Rochelle program, and we're programming 75% of that cost. And then we're gonna cover the entire cost of it. I'm sorry.
I thought we were gonna talk about that. Okay.
That's part of this budget that's in mind, is 75% of that cost. We budgeted 100% of the trailer cost for that skid loader. We have a side-by-side with spray equipment, kind of a mini sprayer for doing the trail and other tasks like that. And we have 2 trucks. We have a 3/4 crew cab truck, which could end up being a 1-ton truck if that's more advantageous on price. Sometimes you never know on those things. And then we also have a 1/2-ton truck replacement in the engineer's office. Mike's vehicle is getting a lot of miles on it. And then we have
Is that a half or 3/4?
half. We drive half tons.
What's that 3/4 that you're swapping on?
I don't think we're swapping. I think it's a new truck.
New truck?
Yeah.
Are you replacing the other 3/4?
No, we do, there was some engineering trucks that got handed down to the secondary roads. We're gonna get rid of that 1/2-ton truck and replace it with this 3/4-ton truck.
We decided to go with a crew cab, because there's times where we're taking 2 trucks out just to get the manpower out to a site. We figured if we go with a crew cab, we may be able to just take 1 vehicle out and haul a trailer behind.
I think we're going on the same road I was.
Yeah, is there any extra 3/4 you're looking to get rid of?
We're getting rid of 1/2-tons this time.
Conservation needs one.
I
They
know
only run about 2,000 miles a year.
Mike's is gonna be a lot of miles when it's half-ton. And then we have $10,000 in for various equipment for bridge repairs. We're gonna be pulling more bridge deck repair work in-house.
Any other questions for Keith?
How far out are the delivery dates on this equipment?
I think the cat's actually fairly good.
The maintainer, they're October, November, that'll be here. Pickups, they told me anywhere from a year to 16 months on a pickup. And, the skid loader, they said, I talked to John Deere and Bobcat, and they said, we can get that, after our fiscal year, so, midsummer, late summer, if we order it now, or whenever we start that process, but.
And we could put that order in if there's an approved budget, we could, knowing that we'll pay for it for this year. So we can start that process.
Any other questions?
Thank you. And for reference, the skid loader was $67,500 in engineering, and we had $22,500 for outside, which I think Rochelle might be rounding out.
Rochelle's paid for that.
But that would also include a $17,000 trailer for that skid loader as well. So if we decide not to go with that, we would just strike both of those.
And you recover the trailer 100% in this budget.
We are covering 100% of the trailer because we don't feel that facilities need the trailer if they would just drive it to, or we would drop it off in the winter and leave it, so, but we'll be trailing it throughout the county, so we're covering the cost of the trailer.
And if you guys do discuss that skid loader, I do feel like, it'll come with a regular bucket on that, we'll share that, but like any extra thing, if you guys wanted a snow blower thing, I would kinda like to keep that stuff separate, we'll have our attachments and you guys can have your attachments,
Butchell Storm,
What's that?
Butchell Storm,
Yeah.
If we ever do the garage, we'll have plenty of room to store some attachments in that too.
well, I don't have a problem with the purchase, it just bothers me how much grief we gave the previous employee over hours, and now we're making that position much simpler at a great cost. And I just think that's sad, but I understand the reason for it, and like cooperation, but.
So, okay.
Okay, thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
In interest of your, is that something we want to commit to, or
What?
if we approve this portion of the budget, would that be sufficient for the order you mentioned? Is that something we want to do, or else the budget won't be approved until April, technically?
That's enough time.
That's time too.
We don't need it.
Only
The
got
lead
6
time on
months for
those,
a truck, I thought.
the lead time on the
5
Bobcat.
months might be nice.
The equipment is getting better, but, for some reason the pickups, when I talk to Jedlo or Patrick, they just, couldn't put a date on it for sure, so.
It is strange that vehicles are that far out.
Yeah, and there are no government concessions on new pickups now.
Really?
No. Doesn't matter Ford, Chevy, Dodge, there's no
I've
government
heard that.
concessions. So,
We don't need advance notice, to continue with the regular budget approval process.
Sounds good, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Now that we're pretty close to being on time again.
I gotta get mine.
So I have you 2 minutes to go to Hawaii?
Some check.
it was getting limited, so.
Yeah.
It gets there. You know what, I really don't care one way or the other, so it shouldn't be that way.
Is that one of the budgets for coming up?
The board of supervisor went next.
You know, I was on the elevator board for 12 years, and as far away as we got, we always had an annual retreat, you know, we discussed whether it's Sioux City or Sioux Falls. Last year, was the year I got off, they went to Seattle. AGP paid for a trip to Seattle. My wife said, gee, Louise.
I feel like Kurt and I would do better if we was with a group. We're not very adventurous, I'm afraid, I don't know if you would venture off.
There's still room.
I know, but February doesn't really work for me now, so.
When does? Somebody said to me.
I know, you're right,
Yeah.
you're right. That Trevor and Kurt are going to Texas in 3 weeks to get a smoker, so.
Long ways to get a smoke. You don't get to go?
I'm not going. We're leaving Friday and coming back Sunday, that's too much travel.
So that's
for
a
me.
big trip, wow.
Yeah, I ain't doing that. Won't be, there'll be no sightseeing.
No,
or
if you
nothing, so
see,
it's like,
whatever you can see on the highway, basically.
I think Trevor would love to get out of teaching and do that, be a professional smoker.
Look, he's got a cousin that does that. This guy's wife has a really good job. This guy's got a really good job.
He has 3 or 4 graduations that he's doing.
But that's kind of cyclical, or
Yeah, he needs
seasonal,
more
so
of
it
a
comes out, yeah.
steady income.
Yeah.
He loves doing that.
So he'd probably sell it regularly,
Yeah.
once he got more
Yeah.
established.
Have his paper smoker.
Yeah, for him.
He loves doing that kind of stuff.
What's his favorite thing to cook?
Oh, he likes, ribs.
Which,
And brisket. I think he's doing,
I'm always amazed at brisket. You know, brisket was always kind of the low end
right.
of the beef. You know, nobody, who wanted to eat brisket 10 years ago, and now it's so
Everybody,
popular. you
yeah.
know?
I think he's doing brisket for graduation, he's doing wings and ribs for another, his son, or his brother-in-law's graduating. He's doing brisket.
Sure to make me hungry.
I know, right? I'm learning not to make it spicy, more sweet, people like more sweet.
Most of my goal is just to get up and stretch.
A little bit of spice.
Yeah, the other day,
Not too much.
last week, my snowblower stopped and I didn't. But I've had more races in my cement this year. Jeez. I kept walking and that thing didn't.
Wow. That's just, and that isn't you.
No. But I would take another cup of coffee to get you insisted. Would you like somebody to?
Don't you need one, Jason?
Sure.
Good for now, hey. If I get another muffin, I might
Yeah.
need it.
Good. Oh,
Yeah, never been a coffee drinker?
Old coffee. I already burned through that, so.
Funny part is when I quit smoking, I took up coffee. Supervisors.
Michelle, what's general county management
Where are you at?
in the supervisor budget on page 3?
That's just your dues, as part of your dues and some miscellaneous, I think we took some, when I looked up that, what did we take out of there? We had some expenses, I think attorney fees that we took out of there. I just, did the 6% raise. Insurance, we had, somebody taken on family, so that's why that increased a little bit. Publication costs, I just increased, cause, I don't know, everything's increasing, so I increased all of that. Postage, I don't have much postage. Mileage, I kept the same. Your education trainings, I increased it $100.
I think that's gonna be enough.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. That's gonna let you guys decide. And of course, dues and memberships are ISAC dues and. Do you wanna increase the, education and training line? I have $350 in there, I don't know if we should up it to $500 or leave it, or what do you think, which board's wishing for?
Across the 5, there's more than enough budgeted, but
Yeah.
participation increases. Yep.
Let's go with what it is.
Leave it at 350.
Any other questions about that? Shall we go on to the auditor?
This is the salaries, the clerk, up a little bit because of my new hire that I have. The office supplies, I kind of stayed the same. Postage, I kept, most of my postage anymore is with elections, I kept that down a little bit. Cell phones, increased that a little bit, because I never know what that's ever gonna be. Education, training, dues and membership, that's the same. Most of my budget's in elections,
Is what?
is in elections, most of my budget. And the revenue, usually what I take in for passport photos, transfers, that would come, I get $5 for every deed that's transferred. Or for every parcel that's not contiguous, I get or the auditor's office gets $5 on the top book. And passport, you just, every year, it just varies from year to year, so how much we're gonna receive, it's hard to estimate that.
Any other questions? We'll go to the elections.
Again, the salaries, clerks and the new hire. I have one employee that thinks going into family, so that's why my family insurance portion's increased on that. We'll have the primary election, of course, coming up, so that's in this budget. And then I also budgeted, $15,254 for over 3 years for the voting equipment that put that in the budget. Special elections, I'm thinking there might be a special election, so I budgeted for that. Just in case we have one.
Special election for what?
Supervisors, plans,
What?
supervisor plans.
Plans?
Well, somebody's been inquiring about having a special election to change the plan.
Okay.
Just talks, nothing's been filed, but in case they do,
Just covering your
it will be
base.
next fiscal year, that'd be the second Tuesday in August, so. Until a petition is filed, there's, you know. And of course, I have the city and school election next fall, so I budgeted for that. And they, you know, the city and schools, they reimburse the county for that, so. And the postage is up because of the election.
The school reimbursing doesn't show in the revenue for, it's
Yeah.
different than what you budgeted for it.
Well, 10,005 I just put in there, I don't know, did I budget more, probably, I should increase that, yeah. Well, I never know, I should have put that in somewhere.
Okay, any other questions on the elections?
Yeah, the software you know, just because I'm purchasing new equipment, I'm still gonna pay the same in data processing services. And I have to get our precinct atlas, those printers that we have are junk. I need to get new printers for those, but I can get those for $200 a piece, so. They've had a lot of issues with those in the past times, I'm gonna replace those. But my laptops and everything else are good, I just need new printers.
Okay, anything else? Juvenile probation?
I kept that the same, you know, every year I don't know what our costs are gonna be. That one juvenile that was costing us a lot of money is now out of the state, so it's not our responsibility anymore. So I don't know if I'll be getting any more bills on that individual or not, so. You just never know, year to year it changes.
And there's no income for that?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay, medical examiner, or do you have any more questions? Okay, medical examiner.
They increased that a little bit. Sandy thought that maybe they would be, that R&D would be getting used maybe a little bit more this coming fiscal year instead of, they haven't been used yet, so that there was talk that they would be, so they increased that a little bit. In medical examiner, they don't know how, you know, autopsies and stuff like that, that's just a year-to-year thing too, you just never know how many you're gonna have. And if, you know, if we have outside of, if someone's a resident, like in O'Brien County or Lyon County, they reimburse us, and vice versa, if they have somebody from our county, we reimburse them. But if it's out of state, I bill them, but they never pay. So, by law, we're required, if the medical examiner requires that if it's in the state, if it's in the counties in Iowa, they will reimburse anything out of state. We've had that in the past. So it just varies year to year.
Any other questions for medical examiner?
And a supplemental item, shouldn't it? You don't have any
Yeah,
control over
I
it.
know.
We don't get to make that call.
No.
Any other questions for Rochelle on that one? Non-departmental.
the levy and for the general basics portion, until you guys tell me to change it. And then, that 40,000 is what we give to Dan Beekler, that's staying the same, right? You didn't ask for anything more?
Nope.
Okay. Regional housing, I did the 5,000, kept that the same. Elder Bridge, they requested the 5208, so that's what I have in the budget. I don't know what the board's wishes were. Rides, they requested 1,400 for next fiscal year, so I didn't know what you guys.
1,000's good enough.
You got 1,000, okay, so I'll change that one.
Nobody ever gives what they're asked.
The legal and court services, you know, conservatorship, we have no say in that. If it's court ordered, we have to pay for it, so. This year for adult conservatorship, we already have 1,130 that we paid so far this fiscal year, so. Upper Des Moines, you know, I have 5,000 in there, but they have yet to turn in the nonprofit contract, so until they do, I can't pay them. Last year, I never paid them, and I notified them 3 times about the contract, and they never sent back, so I'm not doing that this year. I sent it, and it's on them to give it to me.
They haven't received a contribution either of the last year, well, last year and then this fiscal year, did not turn it in, so 2 years.
Yeah. So, you know, last year I emailed, I sent it beginning, I don't know, August, September of last year. And then I emailed them again in April, and I emailed them again, and they never responded, so I'm not doing that this year. I'm gonna be stubborn.
And they won't give us any minutes of what's going on either.
So I did my due
I've been
diligence.
directed for how long, but never introduced themselves.
Yeah, so, I don't know. And then treatment services, that's for substance abuse, so that varies from year to year. And then this opioid, I have no idea what to budget in that. I have talked to Kevin, I've talked to Pam, I've talked to Nolan, and no one can give me an answer, so I don't know what the board wants me to do.
It doesn't matter.
You know, it can only be used for certain things. I would think we would use it, if anything, for prevention programs, but I don't know that for sure. I know Pam has inquired how much money we have in there, but I don't know what to put in there for an amount, so I'm asking the board.
What is it, about 3,000 a year, or?
Yeah, we have quite a bit of money in there. I think we're up to 20 some, yeah, we got 20 some thousand in there. I don't have any, I think we got 23,000 in there, I believe. But like I said, it's not used for certain things.
Is Pam gonna have educational deals up with that?
I don't know, I forgot to ask her that yesterday, and I emailed her and she hasn't responded. I know she inquired about it in the past, but I don't know what to do there.
I agree with you, I think that's where it should be used.
Sheriff's office.
I talked to Kevin, he doesn't know either.
That's what I thought, sheriff's office.
But he doesn't know either. So I don't know what to do there. It's not on there, no, yeah, because that's a budget. That's not the cash. I need to get the cash report to you, so I really know that.
And that's for how many years? Or is it just a one-time thing?
I don't know, isn't it over certain years, isn't it?
Years,
Yeah. I don't know, like I said, I don't know what to do
Show,
there.
well, obviously show the revenue, won't we?
Yeah,
Can't we just do a budget amendment?
we can do a budget amendment when and if
When
we,
something presents itself?
yeah, we can do that.
I think that'd be more reasonable than trying to find a line or say what it might be for now.
And I'll just leave that then as is, and, the trail repairs, I just put 1,000 in there, I don't know if we would have anything more that you guys know of.
I haven't heard anything, so.
That tourism, I increased that, because like 4,000 for the museums, all wanted $1,000 more, so the 3 museums plus Harris, and then 5,000 for the pool.
Sure, we've got that from
5,000 over 10 years.
I think you're right.
So all the meetings wanted an extra $1,000.
See, the hotel motel, as of yesterday at 2 o'clock, the motel was sold out. So I saw the papers.
Did Harris make that, you give them all forward?
I think you talked to Harris,
Yeah,
right?
Dr. Harris, they made the request. Nobody reached out to him, so I reached out to the mayor, and he had to get a hold of the guy doing the thing, and they also requested the same amount of money as everybody else requested.
I think
So you'd like to see that participation reporting to us then, but
Somebody needs to let them know when they do that, and I don't know who coordinated that amongst that group, but nobody reached out to Harris.
Holly Wilson is no longer their city clerk. Suzette Vanderbeek is? Sue Vanderbeek?
City clerk now?
Sue.
Vanderbeek, right? Yeah, from Harris. She's the new city clerk.
You know who that is, don't you? Guy that's had the dairy,
Oh, yeah.
used to be
Sue.
his wife.
Oh,
So the zoning, that just kind of kept the same since Keith is doing it. We no longer pay him extra, so we took that out of the budget. And then right beginning, are we still giving them the 10,000, is that right?
He better get a hold of you. He's supposed to call you, I guess. Good.
Ben, to get on the agenda? Okay. So
We
that's
had a
how you,
meeting last night, and,
okay,
they're, they're trying to
yeah,
transfer him to this.
so they're their own,
They got it pretty well going.
okay. So I
They're
have,
getting grants and stuff to
okay,
help them out.
well, I kept the 10,000 in there, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything for this child care initiative, because that was a one-year thing, right? For that child care initiative?
I don't remember what that was.
I don't either.
Was that, is it trying to look for daycares or survey or something?
Oh,
for-
yeah, that,
Yeah.
that study.
Yeah,
They did that.
we don't have, MBN brothers anymore, so that's just a one-time thing, so I took that out. The rest are just like, either Kruger audition and the enterprise park. And then the, 75,768, that's contribution to economic development. Usually whatever the rates are is what we give them, I don't know if that's, the board continue with that or not, or.
I was asked what was the new director hired at, I don't know if I heard that or.
50. I want to say, don't quote me to that, but
That's
just,
what he told me too when I did the story.
was,
That's what he said.
gee, my memory's getting better.
Coalition, that stayed the same. And then we're to 4-H, they kept everything the same there. We're gonna do anything with that. Kept it the same. Family Crisis Center, they're asking the same. I don't know, CASA asked for 5,000 instead of the 4, so I don't know what the board's wishes was on that. Go to 4, keep it at 4, go to 5,
Which one?
CASA.
Oh,
What's that stand for?
Assault, sexual assault.
so it's like they ask for housing increase every year.
Split it. Split it up.
Yeah.
I don't care, I'm just,
It'd be nice to know how much do they do elsewhere?
Orange
we
County.
lose it, yeah.
So they gave us the stats when they presented.
Yeah,
I don't remember what they
I
were.
don't remember what it was.
Center Against Abuse and Sexual Assault.
There you go.
I think that lady retired too, didn't she?
Oh, I can put a face with it, yeah. They do that over the whole, they take care of the whole state, don't they?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't have a problem with 5, but whatever.
We'll leave that at 5. And the township officials, we pay them once a year, salary, so. And then the audit stuff, I kept that, reduced that a little bit. Office supplies, kept that the same. On the farm shed, we paid them $5,000 last year, we still contributing that this next fiscal year. On page 12, I didn't know what the board officials were on that.
How much do we give them at that, just 5,000?
Not this current fiscal year, was the first year, I think, and then they gave us 5.
But did we tell them over so many years, or?
I don't remember that part.
I don't either.
I don't think so. I'm not against it, I wish they would get their ducks in a row on this side too.
I think they're waiting to get enough money so they can go start.
They talked about the
Yeah.
fairgrounds and talked about.
Personally, I'd like to see that fairgrounds.
Yeah, right, me. It's a full agreement.
And really, it'd be harder to staff it if somebody had to sit up here and somebody had to sit up there. There's arguments both ways.
As soon as you have a separate building up here, I think you're bringing that
Same thing.
issue in,
Yeah.
I think, but.
Leave that at 5.
For this year, I think.
What about next, for 23, 24? We're paying them 5,000 this year. This
Yeah.
is the first fiscal year we're doing it. I didn't know about next fiscal year, what the board wanted to do.
I don't have a problem with it. I don't know about you guys.
We'll leave it in, and then INCS services, I just increased that for, what Jack talked to us about.
Okay.
And beaver bounties and dogs and hotels and. So the tort liability, I increased it 25%, I didn't know what to do. Bill told me 20, but then all the other counties are over 20, so I did the 25. Barb is working on the safety committee, and I think you're on that, Leroy. I think you're on our safety committee, so we're gonna be meeting in February.
Talking about the,
Not the wellness, this is safety.
they don't know what day yet.
February 15th, I think, at 3 o'clock. We'll let you know, because we'll let you know. And work comp, I reduced that a little bit. We've only, current year, we only paid $20,361, that's our premium, so. Increased it a little bit. It's down from this year, but, I should say it's down from this year, 35,902. I didn't know what to do with that either, so. And then the TIF, these are just the payments that we anticipate we will be paying them. They're a half of their taxes abatement. Green and yellow could be getting more, but they haven't gave us any information, so that's on them to give it to us, so. That's where that's at. And then, any questions on those TIFs or anything? That's just a guess, because we don't know what the levies will be. So then the, principal part, the CFE, that's $145,000, that's what our principal payment is. That $750,000 that we borrowed for the road, using the ethanol, we can pay that off in June of '24. So that $400,000 is the principal payment, pay it off, and we have enough money in the fund to pay it. That's the first available time that we can pay it, so that's what the plan is there. So then the interest is accordingly, I think Dave and I, we'll try to work on what the interest and all that stuff will be. I think we're estimating kind of high, but we just don't know what the levies or anything gonna be, so if there's any excess, we'll just give back to the entities, but that's our plan, is to pay it off.
That's all I'm doing.
Yeah. That's pretty much the expenses. And the revenues, unless they're all gonna change, when we figure out what our new values are gonna be, but,
So those most likely aren't accurate. No.
oh, no.
Okay.
Not at all. I just don't know how much it's gonna be.
Everybody won't pay it.
We got a thing from Carrie Johnson, she's from the Department of Management. So what they'll do is, as long as our tax asking stays the same, they'll just adjust the levies. And that's all fine and dandy, but general basic, we're gonna be down because we're already to the max. And, general supplemental, we're to be fine with, and real basic, we're not to the max, and neither are we with unified law. I'm just worried about the EMS levy. I think we're gonna have to take more out of that and put back into general, because I can't be in the red, and if I can't, if I can't reduce, we're at the max of 25 cents, I just don't know.
And if we have to take some out of general, we do.
Yeah, and that's fine, we just need to do it sooner than later, because I can't increase my expenses. Once it's published, and we have a public hearing, I don't know when they're gonna change this law, hopefully it's sooner than later. So then we can start working on it before I have any publications, but at budget time, when we have public hearings, we can decrease expenses, we just can't increase them. So, we're kind of, I don't know, everything's in an uproar, I guess, I don't know.
So then we'll just go to data processing.
Yeah, we can. And then industrial machinery, I kind of did that accordingly to what we should be getting. That business property tax, I didn't do anything with that, because I have no idea what we're gonna be getting, so it's gonna be a bonus, 'cause I don't know what they're gonna do with that. The data processing is, I have things a little bit. I think we're on year 4 out of 5 for solutions, so that won't take an increase, but they said our server's getting worse, so I don't know what that all means. I think our contract with, Premier is up in August, I believe, we have a 3-year contract with them, so. We'll have to see what that's gonna be. Oh, one thing I didn't ask about, I have my notes, this Cherokee Public Health, what are we doing with that? Are we doing anything with that? I don't have that in the budget at all. I didn't know what to do.
I don't know, Brian's doing none.
O'Brien's doing none.
Yeah. And I haven't talked to anybody from Dickinson or Clay.
So we understood from you is everybody's really paying their fair share according to.
If you look at what
Yeah.
was plotted out there, I mean, asking the same from the smallest county in the area as you're asking from the largest county in the area. And I asked that gal from Cherokee Public Health, prorating it, based more on population. And she said, oh yeah, you go ahead and do that too. I thought, well, then why didn't you guys just do that, to begin with?
Right, I don't.
So just not budget for it then?
I don't know.
Either.
They should be able to make that work with the money that they got. Said Webster County never hit us up for any money, ever, for that service. But whatever the board wants to do.
We would ask for ten.
Tender county.
So do I budget and then if you don't use it, then whatever, or do I just don't do anything, do a budget amendment next year, or? I don't know, did they wanted that 10,000, that start July 1st, when they're taking that over?
Oh, they took over already.
Took it over already, so they're gonna want it this year then already?
She didn't say.
We're talking about that Cherokee Public Health, I don't have that in the budget, I don't know what the board pushes for on that.
Just looking at the working data that they had on there, when, you know, you're visiting 6 preschools in Clay, 8 in Dickinson, 11 in O'Brien, and 1 here, I don't know how we could justify paying the same amount as everybody else. And like I said, Webster County Health never asked us for any money, and they had the same budget to work with the Cherokee got, because they got the contract from them. But whatever you guys wanna do. Then there's always a chance you could get the money back, so then I don't know what would be the point of giving it to them if they don't know if they need it.
We won't touch it half. In case, no, I'm just throwing it out.
O'Brien's the one that provides us with that service. They're
Okay.
subcontracted, to provide us with the iSmile program. Like I said, they're not contributing, so I don't know.
O'Brien's not contributing at all?
And that's who is subcontracted to administer that program for us here.
And I think I might wait till next year and see what they say.
It would make more sense to let them run the program and figure out where they're at with it.
And if they do need it, we can always change.
Yep.
Because we shall pay for it.
Taking everything out of me here, yeah.
The libraries all stayed the same.
Yeah, I didn't know what the board wanted to do, if you wanted to increase them or not.
Was there any requests for increases?
I don't think so, no, when they were here.
Just leave it.
Oh, good.
Is that scheduler in the courthouse budget?
Yes, it is. I just read you with the 6% raise and then, health insurance, I have nobody who's taking family, so that's why that decreased, the single policy. I upped the phone and natural gas, everything's going up. Utilities for the ambulance building and electric. For the courthouse building, I have 150,000 in there, because I think the plan was that this year we were supposed to take care of this floor, painting and carpet and all that, and then do the other floors, but I have yet to have anybody ask me about the paint. I don't know. What's gonna happen there? And then the storage shed, I have 200,000 budgeted. I don't know, is that enough? Is too much? I don't know what to do there.
I'm guess 2.25.
Or should I up that to 2.25?
Go.
It's gonna be more than we're thinking.
It is.
Although, if we did, we budgeted 150 for the courthouse this year, and probably not gonna spend anywhere near that.
No.
So we've already taken that in, I'm in favor of budgeting enough to use some of that.
And the only reason I probably would agree with it, we're gonna build a new fire shed in Alvin, it went down 50,000 from last year. We bid it last year,
Lumber went down big time.
and it went down just about $50,000 from last year.
And that bid last year came to what, 185? So 200 might be good.
Yeah.
Just leave it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with your 225.
I really don't know.
And then that fixed line equipment, that's why I budgeted 23,000 for the skid loader.
The only thing I will say about that building, in the last 2 days, I've had 6 phone calls about the specs aren't good enough for what we want. And I would like, whether it be really not a contractor, I don't want a contractor, but someone that knows those buildings, what do they think has to be in there? Because they're asking me questions, I have no idea. And I wasn't here when you guys did the specs, so. And I
Well, I
would
kinda asked Steve that day, and he said he would rather not do he'd
Yeah.
rather have them all do one.
Yep. But they're asking me questions about ventilation and just all kinds of different stuff. And I don't know what to tell them.
Send them back on the keys.
Yeah.
You wrote
We
the
just gotta make sure we have the same
Yeah.
specs for everybody, that's what I'm worried about. 'Cause, and the ones that got them online, I mean, we have no idea
No,
if they got them online or not.
but I would just like everybody to bid the same thing.
Make sure they're all apples to apples.
Yes.
Unlike last. No problem with that.
And I know I asked, Tim, or, what's his name, he's got this little shop right up here. Yeah, Steve Phil called me last night, and we were on the phone about 20 minutes. And I have no idea what to tell him, give him for answers. So if there'd be some way we could get somebody to write up some decent specs, maybe a lumber yard, whether it be here or wherever, I don't care.
The only problem with that is, I think that maybe can be done, but we got electric,
Oh, yeah,
water, I mean,
that part I don't think will change a lot. The questions I've been getting asked is about the building side of it, from a pole building to, and I really don't want a pole building. And that's what's in the specs.
what's wrong with that?
The regular studded walls are gonna be a whole lot better.
I don't know, I never disagree with that, but.
But whatever, I'd like everybody to bid on the same thing. But anyway, it's 11:15, we're going into closed or possible closed session. And I asked Nathan to come up and just explain what's going on. So. So.
Do you anticipate you will be closed? No. Can I just leave this, and if there's anything after this, discussed or decided? It's off now, okay? No, just
As long as I
leave it running.
remember.
Yeah, I'll leave it by you,
Remember.
but it is off now.
Been a frazzle today.
No, that's okay.
Stay stiff this long.
Yeah, that's the way to start the day.
No, it wasn't a good morning.
She all right?
I haven't heard,
She not ready?
not that I know of.
Hey, everybody. Where you like me to sit or you want me to?
You can have the hot seat.
Okay.
Sounds like you're picking me.
Okay. This would be about the lawsuit with Harris. Or should I?
I didn't know we have to go in closed session first, or how does that work?
I wanna know what it's about, to know whether and I'd like to understand why closed session may be a possibility. I think we've taken action to not participate in something
text of Iowa Code 21.5 sub C states, "To discuss strategy with counsel on matters that are presently in litigation or where litigation is imminent, where its disclosure would be likely to prejudice or disadvantage the position of the governmental body in that litigation." It would be my appraisal that even though you've taken action to not participate in something, the matter to be discussed is most certainly litigation, and it would be prudent for all of us to discuss it and be able to freely discuss it in closed session at this time.
I'll be honest, after looking at some of the evidence, I've changed my mind. So that's why I asked Nathan to come up and just show it to everyone, not just me.